Tom had driven this late-night route for years. Same streets, same stops, but tonight felt different. The bus was nearly empty, just a few passengers coming and going, nothing unusual, except for the one who stayed. A figure sitting at the very back of the bus, staring straight ahead. They hadn't moved since boarding. No phone, no book, just still. Tom kept glancing in the mirror, trying to see their face, but the lights overhead flickered, casting long, shifting shadows. He couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. As the bus rolled on, the temperature began to drop. His breath misted in the air, frost creeping along the windows. It didn't make sense. He had the heat on full blast. Passenger after passenger got off until only the figure remained. The bus felt heavier, like the air itself was pressing down on him. Tom's grip tightened on the wheel as he glanced at the route display. The next stop blinked into view, one he'd never seen before, a name that made no sense. He'd driven this route for years. That stop wasn't supposed to exist. His heart pounded. Something whispered in the back of his mind. Don't stop, but he had no choice. The bus slowed to a halt, the brakes hissing in the cold air. Tom turned to call out to the last passenger, but before he could speak, the figure stood. Slowly, almost too slowly. Their bodies seemed to stretch, limbs moving unnaturally, as if they hadn't stood in a long time. Tom swallowed hard, the unease creeping up his spine. The figure started down the aisle, footsteps barely making a sound, but each one echoed in his mind. As they got closer, Tom felt it, the growing pressure, like the walls were closing in. He wanted to look away, but something held his gaze. When they finally reached the front, they stopped. The figure turned, and Tom, he could feel the eyes on him, but when he looked, there were none.